WGEM News is following breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Leslie Van Ness. The city of Quincy is in a state of emergency tonight. That after a severe storm slammed the tri-states. Power lines, trees, and traffic lights all down, buildings blown apart, and much of the city is in the dark tonight. The city has set up an emergency command center to deal with all of this, and that is where my colleague Gene Kennedy is live tonight with the very latest. Gene, what can you tell us?
Well, Leslie, good evening. Right behind me here, we've got police, fire, emergency crews, central services, you name it. All of the main players in Quincy who are behind this wall here. There's about 20 of them trying to piece together what the plan is going to be in the overnight hours. Ameren, Illinois' website reporting that more than 20,600 plus homes are still without power. We're waiting for an update from Emily Andrews, who's a public information officer with Ameren, Illinois here in Adams County. Hopefully to hear more about when power is going to be restored. But at this point, I can tell you that on the way out here from our studios downtown out here to the east side of Quincy, there are some traffic lights that are working on Broadway, but there are many of them that are still out. Also, homes and businesses still without power right now. So what we can tell you in terms of the situation right now is that police, fire, and Ameren crews and emergency crews are going to be working through the night, they say, to try and get power restored as well as parts of the city cleaned up. The tough job, obviously, is you've got many roads that are still impassable with trees down, dozens of power lines, they say, still down. And at this point, they're still trying to get power restored. We'll keep you posted with an update as soon as we have it for you. I'll send it back to you, Leslie.
Gene, thank you so much. And Quincy residents wasted no time assessing their homes and their businesses after today's storm, but they also had to react to damage and debris everywhere. WGEM's Kate Tyndall now live in Quincy with more on that part of the story. It was definitely hard to get around town tonight, Kate.
Leslie, I'm standing behind Greek. To me, you see this brick I'm holding. Well, it used to be at the top of this building. You can see that storm damage has caused parts of the roof to collapse, and all around Quincy, businesses and homeowners are dealing with the aftermath of that storm damage. Blackstone building employee Connie Johnson was just coming in to finish up some work.
And it just blew out. I knew it was a tornado. More like straight line winds. I had never seen anything like it.
She had seen nothing like the building window that was the first damage done during the storm, or the next window after that. And then she waited.
I didn't really have time to go anywhere, so just kind of hunkered down and wait for it to pass.
Across town, Janet Nutt didn't hear this tree hit her property that she rents at the corner of 18th and Spring, but she couldn't miss it in the aftermath.
And we were just moving a tenant in on the main floor. That's why I was here. Heard the sirens go off, so we hit the basement. We came out to this.
Nutt said her husband had informed the city of Quincy 2 months ago about needing the tree removed.
He had called the city and said he thought that tree needed to be taken down, and they said they would check into it. So it's done.
Cleanup began along Spring Street. The corner along 20th and Spring closed due to a down power line. Down trees lining the street. Nutt says tomorrow's cleanup will be as busy as today.
But if you know my husband and my son, they'll be here tomorrow, and it'll probably be done.
Now, there's still going to be work tomorrow on Spring Street where Nutt's house was. There were branches in the road. There were trees on cars on the sides of houses. And there's still going to be a lot of hard work to do tomorrow. Reporting live in Quincy, Kate Tyndall, WGEM News.
Yeah, Kate, tomorrow and well after tomorrow as well. Well, all this storm damage hit 18th and Cherry pretty hard this evening as well. Residents were outside just in disbelief because of the damage. WGEM's Bryant Clerkley live from 18th and Cherry tonight with the latest. And Bryant, there's a huge tree on a house there, right?
Leslie, I'm pretty much touching this tree. This tree is gigantic, and it is on residents Kelsey Jorstead and Jeremy Platt's home. Platt says that his sister gave him a call at work to tell him that there was a tree on his house, and he rushed home frantically. Platt says that the tree crashed right on his bedroom, so his bedroom is caved in. He says his home has water damage, and the ceiling is hardly there anymore. He says he still can't believe what's going on.
I mean, when I get a phone call from my dad and my sister saying there's a tree on my house, you know, I'm going to be in a hurry to get home, and I was kind of, really worried about my animals.
I'm Bryant.
217-228-66. Okay, so the Platt says that he's hoping that the insurance company can take care of the damages as soon as possible, and tonight they're staying with friends. Reporting live in Quincy, I'm Bryant Clerkley, WGEM News.
Yeah, that scene is playing out a lot across the city of Quincy tonight, and as you can imagine, several Quincy parks suffered serious damage in this storm. One was Madison Park at 24th and Main. WGEM's Siobhan Anderson is live tonight to show us the damage. Is there really anything left, Siobhan?
Leslie, this damage here is just unbelievable. Just here behind me, you can see this tree has splintered from its roots. It's now laying across the driveway. Now, you can't see the rest of the damage because the park is pitch black. But as you can imagine, the playground equipment is gone. The tennis playgrounds are gone. And neighbors that came through here say they cannot believe their eyes. Now, several residents have already been through here just looking at the damage. I actually talked to one man who said he was running through the park when the storm hit. He saw lightning strike a tree in front of him. Other residents say they just came out here to check and see if their friends and neighbors were okay.
Unbelievable. I was telling everybody it looked like a war zone. They said there's a lot of cars crashed, trees all laying all over them, but so many of my friends, they've lost the back end of their houses.
Now, city workers haven't even had time to come assess the damage. Earlier today, 24th and Main and 24th and State both had debris. Those are now clear, but residents say it's going to be a long cleanup in this neighborhood. Reporting live at Madison Park, Siobhan Anderson at WGEM News.
Yeah, that could take weeks. Thank you, Siobhan.
All right. Well, hey, I was going to give you the lowdown on exactly how this thing all transpired. We watched as we went through the afternoon hours. This storm was taking shape, and there was just a single thunderstorm. Only one developed really today and started to roll from the west to the east. We had severe thunderstorm warnings on this for 45 or for 50 and then 60-mile-an-hour winds. And then as it approached the Quincy area, it took a little bit of a right turn as it was rolling right through Clark County or south of Clark County. It took a right turn, and that really forced out some wind on the front side of this. And within that storm itself, it was blowing, I would say, for at least 15 minutes at around 60 to 70 miles an hour. Kind of shook the building downtown right here where we're at. To put it in perspective, I'd say it's very similar to the storm that rolled through as far as the damage is concerned with the storm that rolled through on June 26th of 2011 in the Quincy area. However, this one looks like it's a little bit more widespread as far as the city itself. So damage everywhere. Most every street has damage in the Quincy as far as trees down. Guess what? Tonight, we're under a partly cloudy sky. No more storms. The forecast in detail coming up in just a minute.
Well, that's some relief. Thanks, Brian. And the American Red Cross has set up a shelter for storm victims. Power outages and phone problems definitely creating challenges tonight. But generators are being set up at the shelter, and they should have power very soon. It's at the Quincy Senior Center at 639 York in downtown Quincy. Volunteers are staffing that shelter. Residents displaced by this storm are encouraged to come to the shelter for a safe place to stay. And just to recap, thousands of people are left in the dark at this point. According to Ameren Illinois' website, more than 20,000 people lost power after this massive storm tore through the city of Quincy. Those numbers still might even be going up. WGEM's Gene Kennedy again live at the Emergency Command Center here in Quincy. Gene, you're with an Ameren spokesperson who has an update?
Yeah, that's right. We do have an update for you. It's Emily Andrews, who is the Public Information Officer with Adams County, Ameren, Illinois here. We've got about half the city that is still without power right now. What are you telling residents at this point? I mean, when can they expect power to be restored?
We're not sure at this time when the power is going to be restored.
Is this something that could take days? Are we talking beyond that? Any ballpark?
We don't really know at this time.
So, I mean, we're in a point where we've had heat advisories today before the storm hit. What is your best advice to residents out there who are in this weather and without AC potentially?
Residents who are displaced from the storm can go to the senior center. They're setting up a shelter there.
Okay. And what about people who are driving around town? I know there's down power lines as well, roads that are impassable. Are you concerned about folks that are driving around in the area?
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have to be out in the road, don't stay home. And if you do, just use extreme caution.
Okay. All right. Anything else that maybe you could pass along to some of our viewers? I know a lot of people want to know when the lights are going to be back on.
Yeah, definitely. We're working on it.
Okay. All right. Emily Andrews, thank you so much. So, again, at this point, there's no timetable, Leslie. We'll certainly keep you posted. We've got, again, more than 20,600 homes still in the dark tonight. Back to you.
Gene, thank you so much. And we've got continuing coverage of this breaking news and this massive storm that tore through the tri-states right after this. Stay with us.
WGEM in high definition with Gene Kennedy, Leslie Van Ness. Storm track weather with meteorologist Brian Inman and sports director Ben Barth. This is WGEM News at 10, the Tri-States News Leader.
Welcome back. We've got much more on this storm that tore through Quincy earlier this evening, but now to some national news from the day. The FBI says it's arrested a Massachusetts man who they say was plotting an ISIS-inspired terror attack targeting college cafeterias. The suspect is the son of a Boston police officer. The government says they seized 4 firearms, 2 rifles, and 2 handguns, along with 2 machetes, a knife, and a partially constructed Molotov cocktail. Documents suggest the weekend disappearance of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman from a maximum security prison should have come as little surprise to Mexican authorities. There were documents that revealed drug agents first got information last year that various family members and drug world associates were considering potential operations to free him. Guzman's cartel has been known for digging sophisticated smuggling tunnels under the U.S. border with Mexico since the 90s. The Department of Veterans Affairs says it may have to shut down some hospitals next month. That's if Congress does not address a $2.5 billion shortfall for the current budget year. The VA told Congress it needs to cover shortfalls caused by an increased demand by veterans for health care, including costly treatments for hepatitis C. Defense Secretary Ash Carter says the Pentagon's current regulations banning transgender individuals from serving in the military are outdated, and anyone willing to serve our country should be able to do so. Carter is creating a working group to do a 6-month study on the impact of lifting the ban. It's official. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker kicked off his campaign for the Republican race for president. Governor Walker, now the 15th GOP candidate to announce his run for the 2016 presidential election, and enters the race as a top-tier contender. He uses his kickoff rally to portray himself as not only a fighter but also a winner. He's had 3 election victories in 4 years.
Now more than ever, America needs a president who will fight and win for America.
Walker spends the rest of the week traveling to 4 key early voting states, including Iowa. Now we want to get back to our breaking news coverage of this thunderstorm that rolled through the Tri-States. It really left so much damage. Gene Kennedy is live at the command center tonight here in Quincy with some new information on the power outages. Is that right, Gene?
Well, what we know is this, Leslie, that the crews with Central Services are going to be working still into the night to try to clear some of these roads that remain impassable. But as you can imagine, with the power outages that are taking place, it is just a daunting task. Mayor Kyle Moore joining me live right now. How do these crews do this, and how long do they go?
Well, they go as long as they feel safe. And so right now, without power, they can only do it as long as they feel safe. So we've asked the crews, hey, if you're moving debris and you can't see it, let us know, and then we're going to pull them. And we do have crews coming in the morning, and so they're going to work as long as they can. And it may be a couple extra hours. It may be into the morning. We just don't know. But
and so you have, for residents out there who are heading to work, trying to get life back to normal, who are many of which still without power. What do they do? I mean, they're going to come across impassable roads tomorrow.
Yeah, we're asking everybody to stay put in the morning, and we're asking employers, if you know that you're without power right now, to call your workers or let them know, not to come in because of the fact that most of the roads are going to be impassable right now. So, again, it's being patient, and we do have crews working, but we'll start mobilizing contractors early tomorrow morning so that way we can get most of the major thoroughfares safe for passage.
How tough has this been in the last couple of hours? I mean, behind you in that room, you've got about 20 people, city officials, police, fire, and they're actually running on a generator here at 911 services.
I think it's tough because being inundated with all the calls, but we have a very professional crew that have been doing this long before I was ever in office. They're well versed in situations like this, and so really John Simon and the whole team at the Adams County EMS does a great job. The first responders do a good job, so they're ready for it, and we're going to continue to be ready for it throughout the next few days.
All the best, Mayor Kyle Moore. Thank you for the update. Leslie, we'll send it back to you. The message clearly is if you could stay off the roads tomorrow, that's what's advisable.
Next on WGEM News.
All right, the severe threat has passed for the night. We're going to give you a full check of the forecast. Is there any more severe weather in the extended outlook? The details right after this.
WGEM Storm Track Weather with meteorologist Brian Inman.
Yes, that was it. That was the sound everyone was hearing as that storm rolled through. This taken from downtown Quincy. At ground level, we had that storm rolling through the area, pushing down winds, 60, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, and a severe thunderstorm warning rolled for Adams County in the Quincy area. We also had, from our time-lapse little shot here from the Quincy Skycam atop the roof of WGEM studios, and that was what we saw right about 10 after 6 to 15 after 6 as that storm started to roll through. Actually, for the very first time, I've been through a lot of severe storms in this building. That's the first time I've actually felt the building shake, and the lights were doing a little shaking. Even the storm that we had, it rolled through on, again, June 2011, wasn't quite, as far as the building was concerned down here, wasn't quite as shaky as that. Wow, we had a nasty storm, develop and roll right across eastern or northern Missouri and then right into the tri-states, right to the heart, right through the Quincy area. A lot of damage on the other side of the river. The focus really right here in the Quincy area. So we're going to continue to monitor the damage as we go throughout the night tonight. But again, the threat over tonight. No more storms and 73 degrees for an overnight low. It was 91 today for a daytime high. 68 was the low this morning. We're going to continue to watch the potential for severe weather as we head into next week. But for the rest of this week, it looks minimal, or excuse me, for the rest of tonight, it looks very, very minimal without any. Keokuk Skycam, quiet for us tonight, 68 degrees, the dew point at around 63, still strong on the relative humidity. Reporting a little bit of lightning and thunder left over from the automated weather observing site that when the power went out, kind of stops reporting some of the elements. 75, Keokuk, 75 in the Hannibal area, 71 in Macomb. There's the relative humidities that are still going to be on the strong side. The wind flow has died down, but it will be out of the west and out of the northwest. I wish the temperatures were going to be cooler than this tonight. They'll drop down into the 70s to 73 degrees for overnight lows. The relative humidity will still be on the strong side. And tomorrow, just as hot as it was today. More sunshine, temperatures at around 92. The relative humidity may be slightly less with a little bit of a westerly breeze tomorrow. Again, one thunderstorm is what developed, again, right in western Missouri and started to roll across and then cut down through. The backside of this will be left with nothing as we go through the overnight hours tonight. That's it for severe weather for us now. And the futurecast over the next 48 hours, while it didn't have a great handle on things tonight, tomorrow's activity looks like will be left in the sunshine. Any rain that tries to develop along this boundary will just diminish as it rolls back into the area. Weather that's off to the west on Wednesday morning should kind of push down to the south and southeast of the tri-state area and not affect us except for a little bit of cloud cover. For tonight, we've talked about it now, no more storms, 73 degrees for an overnight low tomorrow. Still hot, but on the dry side, and a bit of a northeast and northwesterly wind flow, 10 to 20 miles an hour. Tomorrow night, temperatures 72 again, fairly pleasant with that north wind ushering in a little bit less relative humidity, not quite as hot on Wednesday. There on Thursday, another shot at some showers and thunderstorms. Then you go into the weekend, hot summertime heat and 90-plus degrees as you head into next week also. So, again, this is one of those storms where the warnings were coming out in plenty of time, and I say we're thankful that we haven't had any reports of any injuries with this storm.
Yeah, and I just checked Ameren, Illinois' website just a moment ago, and nearly 21,000. The number actually went up. About another 200 people are still without power. So if you're using generators, do it safely. Right. There's a lot of those things that can bring dangers with it as well. So just stay safe as much as you can.
You know it.
All right, we've got much more weather coverage coming up right after the break. Stay with us. Well, we continue to follow breaking news here in Quincy of this massive thunderstorm that rolled through just after 6 o'clock. Extensive damage all throughout the Gem City. From downtown to the city's east side, WGEM's Gene Kennedy live tonight from the command center with the very latest. And Gene, you saw some of that damage downtown.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We'll get to that in just a moment, but buildings that are very much affected, Leslie. I can tell you that the latest from the 911 center here is that you're going to have crews working into the night, trying to clear some roads that are impassable. The challenges with the power outages, these crews literally have to use the headlights on their vehicles to try to see trees that are down and get them out of their way. So they're going to work as long as they safely can, but it is going to be a daunting task, and many roads will be impassable tomorrow. Meanwhile, damage I saw for myself downtown. For example, Greek to me, the building there that's at Hampshire and 6th Street, and the co-owner describing for us a similar situation that Brian Inman was talking about right at the dinner hour, 6 o'clock. He felt just the shaking of the building, rain pouring down, the roof, part of the roof, the back end of it crashing onto a storage area behind the restaurant. Also a third-story wall, part of that coming down as well. Ceiling tiles inside caving in. The water then started pouring in through the kitchen, also where some customers were. Listen.
Yeah, we can't open up. I mean, we don't even know if the building's safe right now. The back part is leaking nothing but water.
The owner says that no one was hurt. Customers got out just fine. And in fact, much of the restaurant does remain in good shape. A part of the building buckled. So there's a concern as to how quickly he's going to be able to reopen the business. We'll keep you updated. We're live in Quincy. Gene Kennedy, WGEM News.
Yeah, a lot of cleanup ahead. That's just one location. Gene, thank you so much. Just to recap, we'll let you know that almost 21,000 people are still in the dark at this point. That's according to Ameren, Illinois' website. More than right now, 20,700 people are left in the dark after the storm tore through about 6 o'clock this evening. Now, let's take a look at some of these viewer pictures that we've got in tonight. This is 4th and Spruce. You can see that tree just flattened that pickup truck right there. Also, out at Hollister Whitney on North 24th, windows blown out of the tower there. You can see that from that photo. And then also there was a semi blown over at the 2461 interchange in Taylor, Missouri. Some very scary moments. This storm happened very quickly and just so much damage throughout Quincy and the surrounding areas. Go to WGEM.com for extensive coverage, and also stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
Next on WGEM News.
Well, a pair of Cubs sluggers hoping for a power surge in tonight's home run derby, plus the postseason beginning successfully for the Central Lee and Holy Trinity baseball teams. We're also off to Keokuk. Lady Chiefs trying to earn a spot in the region's semifinals. All moments away in sports.
And now, sports with sports director Ben Marth.
Now, lo and behold, the postseason has arrived for the Keokuk softball team, has been state-ranked for the entire regular season. As an extra bonus, Lady Chiefs opening regionals tonight at home against conference foe Mount Pleasant. Off to Joyce Park, we get going. 11th-ranked team in Class 4A, taking on Mount Pleasant, as we've mentioned, and Mackenzie Peasley on point in the early going. Retires the side. That came in the bottom of the first. Keokuk, the visiting team, despite playing at home. Top two. How about Mount Pleasant showing off their leather work? Annie Lichty with a tremendous play at shortstop, robbing Keokuk of a sure base hit. Jump to the third inning. Bailey Roth is your hitter for the Lady Chiefs, and this one would drop in, brings home a run. Keokuk staked to a 1-0 advantage. Then they handed it off to Casey Ames, doing yard work onto this night. Over the fan, standing beyond the left field fence. Keokuk up 2-0. In fact, they would take a 3-0 lead. Everything looked great, but Mount Pleasant struck for 5 runs in the home half of the 6th inning, and Keokuk bounced from the postseason. 6-3 is your final. Our own Sean Berry was in the Gate City tonight. Recaps what was a largely successful season for the Lady Chiefs.
In his 20th season with the Keokuk Chiefs softball team, head coach Merle Jones witnessed a number of milestones.
We've had a lot of kids that put in a lot of work, a lot of good parents, booster clubs. It's a total commitment from everybody.
Shortly after the season began, he won his 700th game as a softball coach and close to 500th as Keokuk's head coach.
Oh, it was bittersweet because, obviously when you win 700 games, that means you're getting old. But also it was nice to think back of all the good players and all the good kids.
It was very special. I think it was more special towards him and towards us because we got to experience that with him.
Aside from winning his 700th game, Merle Jones has also had a state-ranked team this entire season.
Showing the other teams that we deserve it. I I mean, it puts a target on our back, but I think it makes them nervous.
Not only were the Chiefs ranked all season long, but they won yet another conference title under Merle Jones.
I can come to him with anything, and he's at school, even when it's not softball season. So, I mean, whenever I'm having a tough day at school, I can go into his office and I can talk it through with him.
Sean Barry, WGEM Sports, Keokuk.
All right, Sean, thank you. Tonight's loss certainly stings, but Keokuk certainly witnessed more wins than they did losses this summer. Season ends 22-15 mark. Success, however, for Central Lee and Holy Trinity's baseball teams on to the next round of districts. The Hawks defeating Mid-Prairie Wellman by a run. They're going to take on West Burlington tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And the Crusaders of HTC, 4-3 winners over Waco. They get Burlington Notre Dame coming up tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Elsewhere, we can tell you that the Adams County 13U state championship team, they lost tonight. They were losing, that is, in the fourth inning, decided to forfeit because of the storm to get all the families back home to Quincy. So ACLL falls in that state championship. Also for Major League Baseball, the Home Run Derby tonight, Todd Frazier of the home Cincinnati Reds wins it. Chris Bryant and Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs, first round losers. That's it in sports. Final word next.
Our breaking news coverage of this massive thunderstorm that rolled through Quincy just after 6 o'clock tonight continues online at WGEM.com. You can get a lot more information, specific damage reports, viewer pictures. Also, we've got continuing coverage on this breaking news tomorrow morning on WGEM News Today. We'll have live reports from the field. This is a story that's not going to go away all week long. There is so much damage and so much cleanup for people to get through. Again, 20,774 Ameren customers out. Power out is the last check that I just did moments ago. So it's going to be a hot night for everybody.
Hot night tonight.
Right.
No AC tomorrow. Without the power, it will not be comfortable.
Yeah. Stay safe. That's our best advice. Again, don't go driving around looking at that damage. And we'll see you tomorrow.